Morning, everyone. This is Trend Follow this side, and it's that time of the week. Today, we'll look at some of the plans for this week. Last week, we nailed with the analysis. What I really said was, I do see DXY bouncing, and most probably this fair value gap to hold an up move, right? And similarly, I said on AUD USD, this area is the one I really care about, right? And we have this down move. So let's start with DXY. I know many people love to know what's happening with DXY. Right now, I do feel it's iffy, and let me explain why. So, yes, it took this liquidity. If you just believe that trades can be wrong, then I think the up move is possible. Why I say that? Because you took the liquidity and I think the draw on liquidity is here and the perfect reversal area is here, like the perfect reversal area. Why do I say that? Because you have a weekly supply here, you have a daily supply here, perfect. And there is a monthly line also. So perfect. If it comes here, the probability of reversal is very high. Should it go there? Possible, because the up move is strong, right? Having said that, I do have some concerns, and that's why I'm a little confused with DXY. Now, what are my concerns? It's end of month. Like the first half would be end of month. So, what I really do think is first half of the week, I would expect it to be a little choppy, right? Uh, and then we go up and then we come down. That is a probable scenario. Where I want DXY to come in this weekly area and then we play up and then we play down, right? That is a possible scenario. If it goes up, right, I will wait for the month end, which I think is on Tuesday. So starting Wednesday, I will let it continue going up and then I will play a short from here. So my highest confidence is here, right? And the second highest confidence is, let's say DXY comes here, then we will get a good bounce. Will it go all the way up? It depends how it rejects from here. I think it can go up, but it depends on the monthly candle, how it closes. So that's where the confusion is. I'm not sure how this monthly candle will close. So if you want to trade on DXY, I would love to see DXY holding this fair value gap if you're bullish, right? And then going up. Keeping that in mind, the trade I have for DXY, I mean USD name, is AUD USD. Now you'll ask me why AUD USD. AUD USD in particular, I will show you a few things. But basically, um, it took the liquidity from here, rejected, perfect bearish flow, rejected this fair value gap down, right? Now, if you move this to 2 days, you have a very clean daily supply. You have these long wicks. So I can imagine somewhere here, right? So if I get an entry here, I think this can be a good trade, right? So that's odd USD. Okay. So let's go with other trades, um, other trade ideas. So one is Euro Australian dollar. I really like this. The reason I like this is firstly, let's look at back to daily. Let's look there. Right, it is possible that it comes here because of this daily, which took this minor supply, right? Now, in terms of liquidity, it took the liquidity from here and bounced from here. If you look at monthly, it took the liquidity from monthly levels here, took the previous month low. So the bounce is legit, most probably, right? Within that bounce, there is a fair value gap here, right? With this fair value gap, you have a monthly, it matches perfectly with monthly levels. These monthly levels are previous month low and wherever that block was, monthly block was. So what I really would like to see here and then up move. Yes, you can play the other way also. It takes the equal highs here, goes up. This is again a fair value gap here, especially if you look at 2 days, right? This is a huge fair value gap, so it can come here and then go here. It can do that. I, in particular, will not play this, and that's because less trades, right? Took the monthly liquidity. If you look uptrend, there are good long wicks, so I would imagine this to be a much higher probability and probability trade and the probability to hold it for longer gains. So that's my number one trade, Euro Australian dollar. Next would be GBPNZD, same idea. But here, what will happen is, let's say there's a pullback again. Let's look at the trend, clear up trend. Let's look at the liquidity. It hasn't. Sorry, first it has taken this weekly liquidity here, but previous month high here. So let me draw that. I missed that. Here we go. So it if you look at weekly chart, it bounced from this monthly. Now when it went up, right, it took this from here. When it went up, it didn't touch the previous week high or the block. So it has gone up without testing these liquidity areas. So there is an imbalance created. Yes, there was a little bit of fair value gap test, which you could have traded for upside. I was waiting for previous week high or something like that to be tested. Now, I think if it comes down, right, so there is a daily fair value gap here. There's a, let me remove that. So there's a daily fair value gap here. There's a 2 days fair value gap here with a bearish blocker. So I think what can happen is this area has a lot of confluence. Plus there's this weekly block. Let me check 3 days. Do I have something else? And a 4 day fair value gap, right? So there's a lot of confluence here. I would like to, sorry, I would like to see something like that on GBPNZD. Or USD, I already explained. The only downside of odd USD is when you look at the weekly, this is a doji area which had such a strong move. So this whole thing is a huge demand. So price may be choppy here, right? And it will chop, chop, chop to go up. Now that up move can be significant or uh, a little bit like it can continue downwards. So it is something, it's a zone where which can provide the whole move to upside or not, right? So that's where my concern is. And USD in general, I don't like the upside so much, as I explained why. One of the other reason, if you see USD, is it is in a downtrend, right? And all this move is below this. Now maybe it considers all this and goes up, but I would rather want to see a monthly candle close and a continuation before going into that thought process. So that's what I think right now with DXY. If you are in any USD names, be a little careful. I think the move may continue, but the move till here was almost very high probability move. But the move from here is a medium probability move. But if I take this trade, I will exit somewhere here. I will not target all the way downside because I'm not sure about DXY right now according to this structure. So if this is a low resistance environment, it has a trend line. So will this trend, when will we break over this, is very tough to say. Uh, the next thing I wanted to talk about was uh, just why I think odd pairs can do what I think it can, is because let's say euro odd comes here, right? So maybe at that point GBP odd Australian dollar breaks this low and then bounces up. That's the theory I have. If not already you are in demand, maybe it just does something like this. So because of that, the weaker one is GBP Australian dollar, which has really good liquidity, about drawn liquidity. So I think the probability of up move is higher. If this Euro Australian dollar happens when this weekly low is also broken, you see this, you see this. So if something like this happens, then Euro Australian dollar will become very high probability and a very big move for multiple days, right? So that's the way I'm seeing it. The next thing I wanted to talk about was GBP USD CAD. So there is a part of me which is thinking that will CAD name starts showing strength, and if that happens this week, we may I may see something next week also, but there is a possibility that we see CAD move. It may happen this week, start beginning if you want to enter at the top. Uh, the reason is I will have to show this a little bit. We don't do we need the daily chart. Okay, anyway. So I will start with this. You see the weekly chart, right? So if you see the weekly chart, this week down move happened after taking a liquidity from this fair value gap, right? So it is possible that you have to wait for uh, this candle break test, right? If it takes the liquidity from here and then we go down, that's possible, especially when such a big weekly candle has been printed. But it is possible that it just starts going down in some time, right? Like what I mean is something like this, and then this, then this. And that's why I think will it happen in this week? I'm not sure. I would rather have a weekly candle which is a little weak, but I would not be surprised when such weekly candles happen strong. Sometimes they start reversing from this week. So tag names are getting interesting. As I said, you see this weekly, which took a liquidity from here. Ideally, if it's really bearish, especially when you have this drawn liquidity equal lows, if it's really bearish, it should start going down, especially if you have if you look at this supply also, very clean supply. More importantly, now if you look at other things, uh, you have this monthly zone, right? Which was monthly high. We're in that zone, right? So I'm not saying start shorting right now. With that weekly candle, it is quite possible it tests this. But I do think CAD reversal is coming. CAD can show strength. Either it will show strength right now, or it will take this liquidity and then show strength, right? So I just wanted, I'm not sure if it, what I'm trying to say is if it happens this week, it can be great. And that's why one name that I will focus on depending on how USD CAD acts, and I've shared this, is you had this daily fair value gap after taking a huge liquidity, right? You took the liquidity from here, formed this daily fair value gap, right? Then rejected. Now you're in this daily supply. It can go down. The only concern here is that the trend of CAD names have been on monthly itself have been weak. So you can argue that, oh, it may just continue up and then start going down, right? So there's argument for it to go down from here, or the argument to go from here. Both cases can happen, especially if you look at 4-day, right? So uh, there is an argument for both sides, and that's why it's not a high probability idea. It's more about being aware, right? This can happen, right? So I would like to see what USD CAD does, and if EURAUD also breaks this high, then it becomes very high probability, right? So that's what I'm focusing on. These are the ideas. My main focus would be on Euro or Australian dollar and GBP NZD or USD. I do think at least you can get something like this. And the reason is you have this weekly level and you have a very clean daily supply. But s- saying that it will come all the way here is iffy because I'm not sure if DXY really can go all the way here right now. I don't know. Uh, it is, I want to see how DXY acts in this area where there's this demand and all, right? So that's what I'm thinking, guys. And again, it's month end. So I really want to see that how this monthly candle closes. If it closes strong, then you took this monthly liquidity. Can it, and then it will come here and go down from there. I do think at least overall in like not this week maybe, but in coming weeks we are coming here. I have been saying this from quite some time. Before going further downside, it will be very tough. And it will be very tough for it to break the slope where it has taken the liquidity with all this liquidity here. So even if it comes down here, I would prefer it. I would trade it for upside. So for me, the highest probability setup if I'm taking USD is it comes here, and then comes here, right? So if you are planning on playing USD, I would suggest wait for it to come here, see how it reacts. Yes, there is a possibility it just starts reacting from this fair value gap. I would rather take this structure, so I would let it come here, then play this, right? And will it continue or not? It depends how this action is, right? So I would let it come down here and then say. So if you, as I was saying, if you want USD names, wait for this zone and wait for this zone. Take a trade. Uh, all right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope this helps. As I said, I would be focusing on less ideas, more teaching, because quality would be what I would be focused on, and I think these are the quality trades that can go in this week. Hope you have a good week. Hope this analysis helped. Stay safe out there. Have a good week.